Hello friends. Welcome to Defense Matrix. On this channel you will get fully information about defense and technology. Let's view the video. USS Barb, the submarine that sank a train, the submarine that made history on land. Imagine a silent predator lurking beneath the waves, invisible to the enemy, lethal when it strikes. But now, imagine that same predator not only sinking ships, but blowing up a train. Sounds like something out of a Hollywood blockbuster, right? Well, it actually happened. This is the true and mind-blowing story of USS Barb, a submarine that not only dominated at sea but made military history by launching a land assault, a feat no other U.S. submarine has ever achieved. In the thick of World War II, when naval warfare was brutal and the Pacific was crawling with danger, the USS Barb stood out as a legend. It didn't just follow orders, it rewrote the rulebook. Under the command of the fearless and brilliant Commander Eugene Fluckey, this submarine turned into an unstoppable force. It sank more tonnage than nearly any other sub and carried out missions so daring, so unthinkable, that even today, military strategists study them, but nothing compares to what happened in July 1945. In one of the most audacious operations of the war, a small team of sailors from the USS Barb landed on Japanese soil, infiltrated the coastline, and blew up a moving train using a makeshift pressure-triggered bomb. This wasn't just an attack, it was a bold message to the enemy: no place is safe, not even your own homeland. So how did a submarine pull off a land operation? Who were the brave men behind this unprecedented mission? And what kind of technology and tactics made it all possible? Buckle up, because this story is more than just war history, it's a tale of guts, genius, and groundbreaking innovation that changed naval warfare forever. Inside the USS Barb, a technological marvel of World War II, the USS Barb wasn't just a submarine, it was a finely tuned technological beast ahead of its time. Commissioned in 1942 and classified as a Gato-class submarine, Barb was packed with innovations that made her not just dangerous, but unpredictable. From enhanced sonar and radar systems to state-of-the-art torpedo tubes and forward-thinking design features, the Barb represented the cutting edge of underwater warfare. Equipped with 24 torpedoes, deck guns, and rocket launchers, the USS Barb was designed to hunt silently and strike suddenly. It could dive deep, evade sonar detection, and sneak past enemy lines with surgical precision. One of the most significant upgrades Barb received was her SJ radar system, which allowed her to detect enemy ships and coastline threats long before they were visible, a game changer in both offensive and defensive maneuvers. But it wasn't just about hardware, it was the way that technology was used creatively. Commander Fluckey wasn't interested in simply engaging targets. He wanted to redefine the role of submarines. Under his leadership, Barb conducted shore bombardments, rocket attacks on industrial targets, and even photographic reconnaissance missions deep inside enemy territory. The most surprising tech hack came during the train operation. Lacking standard explosives for a land-based mission, Barb's crew improvised with a custom-made explosive device triggered by a pressure switch. The weight of a train would complete the circuit, resulting in a perfectly timed explosion. This fusion of high-tech equipment with daring, field-adapted engineering turned USS Barb into a war machine that was as versatile as it was deadly. It wasn't just a submarine anymore, it was an underwater special operations unit capable of launching attacks both above and below sea level. In an age where tech determines victory, USS Barb proved that innovation isn't just about machines, it's about how you use them. Commander Eugene Fluckey, the fearless brain behind the mission, behind every legendary war machine, is a leader who dares to think differently. For the USS Barb, that leader was Commander Eugene Bennett Fluckey, one of the most celebrated submarine commanders in U.S. Navy history. A master of strategy, fearless under pressure, and fiercely loyal to his men, Fluckey didn't just command missions, he orchestrated brilliance. When Fluckey took command of the USS Barb in 1944, he brought with him a radical new philosophy: no target is unreachable, no mission too daring. Under his leadership, the Barb would go on to destroy over 30 enemy ships, rack up one of the highest kill counts of the war, and earn more commendations than most entire fleets. But it wasn't just about numbers. What made Fluckey a genius was his ability to push the limits of submarine warfare. While most captains stayed underwater and avoided enemy shores, Fluckey took the fight to the coastlines. He invented tactics for launching rockets from submarines, created underwater escape plans for shore attacks, and even allowed his crew to design the land sabotage mission that would become one of the war's most daring feats. That's right, it was Fluckey who approved the idea to send a handful of his sailors ashore to blow up a train. He personally oversaw the planning, helped design the pressure-detonated explosive, and trusted his crew with a mission that had never been attempted in naval history. His bravery and unconventional tactics didn't go unnoticed. For his service, Fluckey received the Medal of Honor, 4 Navy Crosses, and the Distinguished Service Medal. But perhaps more importantly, he earned the undying loyalty of his crew, who would follow him into any mission, no matter how insane it seemed. Commander Fluckey wasn't just a military leader, he was a pioneer, a visionary. The kind of commander who proves that sometimes, the difference between victory and defeat is just one bold idea. The secret land operation, how sailors sank a Japanese train, what happened on the night of July 22, 1945, reads more like a spy thriller than a war report. Under the cloak of darkness, 8 men silently crept ashore from the USS Barb, armed not with guns, but with stealth, strategy, and a bomb built for one very specific target, a Japanese train. The mission was bold, absurdly dangerous, and absolutely unprecedented. It was the only U.S. ground combat operation on Japanese home soil during World War II. And it wasn't executed by Army Rangers or Marines, it was carried out by submarine sailors. Here's how it happened. After multiple patrols, Commander Fluckey learned of a coastal train line running near the shores of Karafuto, Japan, now part of Russia's Sakhalin Island. Every night, a Japanese supply train would make its run unguarded and vulnerable. It was the perfect target to send a shockwave through the enemy ranks. The crew constructed an ingenious pressure-triggered bomb designed to explode only when the full weight of a train passed over it. But planting it wasn't the hard part. The team had to sneak hundreds of meters inland, crawl across enemy-held territory, avoid searchlights, guards, and patrol dogs, and get back undetected. One false step, and they'd be executed or captured, if not shot on the spot. But these weren't ordinary sailors. They were handpicked, fiercely loyal, and trained for this exact moment. Just hours later, from the safety of the submarine, they watched a massive explosion light up the coastline. The train was destroyed. The mission was a success. And they had made history. A submarine crew had just derailed the enemy's war machine on land. This moment wasn't just about destruction. It was about sending a message: even in your own country, you're not safe from the reach of American innovation, precision, and daring. Technological warfare, submarine innovation that changed naval strategy. The USS Barb was more than a killing machine, it was a laboratory of innovation, testing ideas and tactics that would shape the future of naval warfare. While most submarines of the time were built for stealth and destruction, Barb evolved into something far more versatile, a multi-role weapon platform capable of launching torpedoes, firing rockets, conducting reconnaissance, and even leading ground attacks. One of the Barb's most revolutionary additions was its rocket launcher system, a first for American submarines. Using modified 5-inch spin-stabilized rockets mounted on deck, the crew could rain destruction on enemy factories, airfields, and military installations from offshore and undetected. This turned the submarine into a mobile artillery platform, capable of waging war against targets well inland. Then came the SJ radar and sonar upgrades, technologies that gave the Barb unmatched awareness of its surroundings. It could detect enemy convoys at night, navigate coastal waters with precision, and coordinate complex strike patterns without surfacing. This edge allowed Barb to attack faster, dive quicker, and vanish before the enemy could react. But perhaps the most telling innovation was in its mindset. Commander Fluckey encouraged out-of-the-box thinking, which gave birth to bold new tactics, including the land-based sabotage mission. Barb wasn't just following the manual. It was writing a new one. This approach became a blueprint for modern naval warfare. Today's Virginia-class submarines, armed with cruise missiles, stealth coatings, and sealed delivery systems, owe their philosophy to pioneers like the USS Barb. Modern submarines are no longer limited to undersea patrols, they are now platforms of strategic disruption, capable of influencing land, sea, and air domains simultaneously. The USS Barb didn't just dominate its enemies, it inspired a new way of thinking about war. Legacy of the USS Barb. Lessons for modern naval defense. The legacy of the USS Barb lives on in every modern submarine and every special operation mission that dares to push boundaries. It wasn't just a vessel, it was a symbol of what happens when technology, leadership, and courage unite. Barb proved that even in the deadliest conflicts, creativity is a weapon. Its missions redefined what submarines could do, not just launch torpedoes, but shape the battlefield on land and sea. Today's multi-role subs, precision-guided munitions, and covert SEAL operations are echoes of Barb's bold experiments. More importantly, it taught the military world one vital truth: innovation isn't optional. It's survival. From sinking ships to derailing trains, the USS Barb's story isn't just about history, it's a blueprint for the future of war. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel Defense Matrix for more interesting and knowledgeful videos.